Well, the coronavirus and the resulting shutdown of our nation is proving to be a genuine hardship for all Americans, especially those in the service sector, whose jobs have virtually disappeared overnight, and for many, they may not return. The travel and tourism industry is decimated. The stock market imploded. And of all things, toilet paper became a more precious commodity, or should I say commodity, than dollar bills. Now, if you're from the rural South and you grew up several decades ago, you weren't worried about the toilet paper shortage. You just knew to eat more corn on the cob and save the cobs. When I mentioned that on Twitter, I was excoriated for my lack of sophistication. But I would ask my snobby critics, what's your solution when there's no Charmin to squeeze? I honestly don't think I even want to know. Now, are there any positive things to come from this pandemic, as well as the economic and social disaster that it's caused? Actually, you bet. For one, maybe we finally learned that globalism isn't all it's cracked up to be. And we ought to be thinking more about making America strong, self-sufficient, and independent of countries like China, whose communist government kept hidden the blunt force of the virus until they finally slammed their fist on the population of Wuhan, China, and then turned it into a gulag. But by then it was too late, and the virus had already started to spread throughout the world. President Trump immediately put a halt to travel from China, and of course, he was promptly labeled a racist by Nancy Pelosi, other Democrats, and their co-conspirators in the media. Interestingly, publications like the Washington Compost and the New York Slimes themselves demanded a travel ban in the early days on what even they then called the Wuhan virus. And just for their reminder, Wuhan is in China. Now, the use of that term is, of course, racist, which means that we dealt with the Spanish flu, German measles, MERS, which stood for Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, for all those years. And we never knew that we were all racist for calling it a disease from its point of origin. We've learned to appreciate some real heroes that we've taken for granted, and that's been an advantage, like truck drivers. As bad as this been, it's the truckers who've kept this country moving and stocked with food and supplies. So when you see a trucker on the highway, say a prayer of thanks for him or her. They've been your lifeline. We ought to be more grateful as well for healthcare workers, and not just the doctors who get most of the attention, but for the nurses, the front office staff, nursing home workers, technicians, and even the people who cleaned the buildings where all those folks work. Truth is, they've been exposed to more germs in a week than most of us will be in a lifetime. And we need to be grateful for our policemen, firefighters, and first responders. They don't get to stay home and just wait this out. They're on call 24/7 to clean up the messes that humans make. And be grateful for those who deliver the mail, as well as packages. Doesn't matter whether it's the post office, UPS, FedEx, whoever. I mean, I'm getting stuff shipped to my house to keep from venturing out. And those folks in the warehouses, shipping platforms, and the drivers getting it to my neighborhood, well, they're real heroes to help the rest of us practice social distancing. We ought to be grateful for grocery clerks and stockers, pharmacy workers who also deserve our deep thanks. Finally, we're shaken to our roots through all of this because we realize that with March Madness, the NBA, Major League Baseball, and every single sporting event canceled, athletes can't save us. And with the theaters closed and movie sets shut down, Hollywood and actors, they can't save us. With a financial meltdown, money can't save us. And with the congressional bungling of a rescue bill and Pelosi trying to add money for non-virus nonsense like funding abortions and NPR and the Green New Deal, politicians sure can't save us. In fact, they may end up killing us. But when human institutions fail, God never does. His comfort, His healing, His promises bring us peace when nothing or no one else does or even can. And that is something that we have learned from all of this. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, then subscribe, and hit the notification bell below. Now, if you didn't like it, you ought to find a Ben Shapiro video to detox you with more facts.